everyone, welcome back to my channel. The setup is a bit weird because I'm on a business trip to the headquarters of my company. There are some events that I wanted to join for this week and I'm right now in a hotel. And that's exactly the reason why I wanted to make a video. As a remote worker, I find it is very convenient. Your commute is just from your bedroom to your desk, but it may be difficult to expand your network and really connect with people that you work with. Lacking the regular face-to-face connection might be a bit challenge to build professional relationship at the workforce. So today I wanted to share a few thoughts on how to build and expand network and professional relationships as a remote worker. So first thing first, ever since the pandemic, remote or hybrid working style is more of a norm to a lot of companies that we are like spoiled to not really go back to work every day of the week. Remote work has a lot of benefits. We save a lot of time on commute and we are able to work from everywhere, not just in your home, but maybe you can also work while traveling to different places. I have taken a lot of advantage of it. I was able to go back to China and spend a lot of time with my family while working from China. And actually for my team is a remote team. No more than one person is in one place. So I have people from the East Coast, West Coast of the US. We have people in London, we have people in India. So it's always a challenge to communicate and have those face-to-face communications. And in fact, I have been working 2-3 years and some of them have never met in person. There are a lot of accommodation has to be made to find a common meeting time frame for everyone. People in India may have to have meetings very late in their time, and me who are in the West Coast sometimes have to meet very early to catch people before they log off. I have never worked before the pandemic, so I don't know what it's like to work every day in the office, but I find it is challenging sometimes to get to know people, not just from the team but also a larger organization, and sometimes you need to really build that connection with them before you can ask them to help on your work or expand the impact of your work to them. There are a few suggestions that I have regarding these challenges that I face. The first suggestion I have is to set up the one-on-ones with key point of contact in your calendar. So you have regular check-ins with your direct manager or your skip or your stakeholders. Even though you may not have things to update with them every week or at the frequency that you set up, this doesn't mean that you can't meet them outside of your meeting schedule. It's more of a way of showing your commitment to maintain that relationship and update them on what you are doing, what help you need, and what suggestions or feedback they may have on your work. Personally, I find it is very helpful to connect with the leadership and stakeholders and understand what their needs and whether there are gaps between what I'm working on and what they need. And second is that when you are having meetings with people, don't just be too professional. Let a little bit of your personality out when you are having the meetings with them, even though it has to be virtually. You can always turn on your cameras and have some small talks before you move to your agendas for the meeting. You can always talk about the weather, you talk about your plans. In the beginning of the week, you can talk about what did you do for the last weekend. Then the later part will be what's your plan for the next weekend, just to start a conversation and show your genuine interest. If you have recurring meetings, you can always bring back what the topic that you talked about last time and have some callbacks and show that you remember some little things about them that happened in your previous conversation. I always find it's very useful to have that personal connection if you have similar topic or if you let other people know that you're interested in them in some ways. Topics outside of the work is going to help you build those relationships into a different level. And the third point I want to bring out is that the best way to connect with someone is to work something together or provide help. If you are a remote worker, it is very easy to feel like you are on these things alone and you don't have your teammates or people in the back to support you or help you. That's why it is very important to help each other out when you can. Provide the genuine help is always the way to enhance that relationship. It's always when you help someone on something, even though it's very small things, then you will find out your relationship has come to a different level after that. So all the 3 points that I brought up right now are mostly focusing on maybe people around you that you work with probably every day, or your organization leaders, your stakeholders, or your co-workers. That's the people that you will see probably every day and have a lot of communications at work. Then how do you meet and build connections for people outside of your team? How are you gonna build that cross-functional relationship that can help you expand your network and maybe give you future opportunities either to move teams or increase your deliverable impact? There are 2 suggestions that I have on how to build cross-functional networks and how to extend your network outside of your team. One is to participate in workshops or volunteer activities. A lot of times we have those team building events to build across team connections. I always find it's very interesting to plan an event with a bunch of people outside of my team, even for things outside of work, like a fun gathering event in the organization. There are always volunteers needed to organize those events, and I'm always willing to participate, even though that may take some of my time away from doing my daily work. But I find it's very interesting to switch my brain from like all those logical model building to fun event to like connecting with people. Maybe you have to send emails to people, or maybe you have to make slides and think about games to play. Joining the volunteer event not only give you the opportunity to connect with other volunteers, but also it gives you the chance to be visible to people participate in this event. When I first joined my team, I participated in one of those volunteer events that's across several teams, and we just have an event to play games together. And I took a role to plan the games and ask people to join the game playing. I think that event really makes me visible to a lot of people, and they know me from the first time. Oh, this girl has joined this team, and even though I'm not like the center of that event because it's more like everyone playing fun games together, but at least I feel that after that event, people know me now. Even though I don't directly work with them, they know me after that. So that's the suggestions I have based on my experience. And lastly, another way to expand your network is to really take advantage of those mentoring or coaching resources that you can get out of your company. It's very common that when you first join a company, you will match with mentors, or some company provide career coaching to give you guidance, and especially if you're early stage of your career. I have found several very good mentors during my career development. They're not technical mentors that I learn how to coding or how to build models or how to solve a business problem. We may not be in the same organization, but it's just those advice that they can give me in how to navigate in the workforce. A lot of advice that I got from them that I can share, maybe more details in future videos on how to draw a line between your personal time and working time, and how to say no to tasks, and how to not burn out, and how to make your work and effort sustainable in the long term. And when do you ask for promotions, and how do you prepare for promotions? And all those things I find very, very useful, and I wouldn't be who I am right now in the workforce without their guidance. Yeah, so that's something that I'm always grateful to, and I'm also reaching to a point that I can give mentorship to people who are in their very early stage of their career. So it's this healthy loop that we are forming in the career that is helping everyone to be the better version of themselves and better navigate in the workforce, because it is very different from school setting to the work setting, that you can't be a student at work. You have to switch your mindset. And I think building those connections not only expand my network, but also really give me guidance on how to not derail and keep focused. And I think that's all I wanted to share today. I'm very, very hungry. I haven't had dinner yet. Just wanted to gather those thoughts first. It's also a very quick one because I was just thinking about making this video while I'm driving here to the headquarters. I also make videos in the past about how do you thrive in the workforce as an introvert. As an introvert, it's even harder for us to expand our network and build connections. But at least we have a purpose at work. We have a professional relationship to establish and maintain. And with those in mind, and with this as a goal, at least we know where to go. I think personally, know that I'm with people in the same page in the workforce helped me ease that social anxiety that I usually face in other settings. As a remote worker, it is very important for us to build that connections whenever we can, to reduce the frictions that we may face when we ask for help, when we extend our work impact. A lot of times we need to have those connections to climb that career ladder. And I hope those suggestions that I provide here today is really helping you and to give you some insights on how to improve building relationships at work. So that's all for today's video. Let me know if you have any suggestions on how to extend your network, especially as a remote worker, and whether those suggestions I mentioned above are helpful for you. Well, until next time, keep on building relationships and thrive at work. Bye, see you next time.